Good afternoon, YouTube modeling community. Robert Bishop at RB Model Works coming at you from Moscow, Idaho. Today I've got a special product I'm going to be previewing, and I'm going to walk you through what I'm going to do with it. It is the newly released Camaro by Revell. Bada bing. And I'm going to use this for reference. Mostly just leave it here so you can see the size of these parts and everything. But anyway, I was able to pick up 3 of these. My wife got me one for Christmas, and I pre-ordered one back in October and then another one in November. 49 bucks for a box full of 1/12 plastic. It's just unbelievable. So anyway, my first project with this, I'm going to be doing a full video build on my channel here with this. I kind of got an idea of how I want to incorporate it. I'm not good at videography or editing, so I thought, well, most of the videos I do are just kind of update videos. Some crucial parts with interior and suspension and fitting and modding and engine into the engine bay. I'm going to do some build process taping with that, and then update. So I'm going to try on this build really hard to not only include the tips and build strategy I have as I go, but updates as well. So you see RMX is pretty much going to these nice Revell of Germany type, and you can see this is actually Revell of Germany print. So maybe RMX made a deal with them. All the typical stuff that goes in the Revell of Germany kits, color callouts, silk mat. And let me tell you guys, if you've never used the little tins of Revell enamel paint, I strongly suggest you try some. Get a couple, like the aluminum and matte black or something like that, and really what I encourage you to do is just try them. They're only a few bucks a tin. They're like $2.50 a tin. They're cheaper than testers, and they're hands down, they're a lot better than testers. But I encourage you to just try them. They airbrush absolutely phenomenally. And you know, testers gave enamels a bad name through the years for not drying. Let me tell you, these you'll be handling with no intervention. You'll be handling your enamel paint in less than 24 hours. It does dry that good. All right, we got the trees, parts counts, more of the trees and parts counts. Your 3 different options for your style: stock, racing, street. Nice cross ram, 2-piece manifold, tunnel ram. I've always loved this cross ram. The original Z28 with that kind of pink and black stripe on the side from the 80s, 70s, and 80s. That was my favorite kit, and it had that cross ram. And then another version had that Um, Dual turbocharger coming off the manifold. Probably not very realistic, but I thought it was cool. But you can see this gives engine colors as you go. Nothing, you know, the headers. This is really cool, the tubing that they give you. You can see this is a cutting guide for it, which is very cool. Chassis pan, the front clip. That's more just like a frame cover in there. I'm waiting on a book that I ordered of Grumpy Jenkins. It's an authorized book on his cars. I'm waiting for that before I start hacking up any of the engine bay, and because I don't know if the battery is in the interior, in the trunk, or underneath the hood. There were a lot of different requirements for super stock back in the 60s. Mainly, the main thing is your car had to be stock. You could do stuff with engine. You could do a little bit of stuff with suspension, but you had to have like stock interior, stock frame, chassis, stock sheet metal. That's one thing I find that was really cool about drag racing in the 60s and 70s. Differential tires. You can see they give you all kinds of different tires. Stock, street, racing, interior, body. You can see it even has a color code for doing the trim. The headliner. Typically good instruction sheet for Revell. Sorry, keep pushing that out. Decal placement. Yeah, see, this was like that original one back in the 70s, the 125th that I loved. That was the first Camaro I ever built. All right, so we're gonna just set these right over here. Start going through these parts. I'm not gonna pull these out, but you can see this has a, I don't know if you can see it, but it's textured for the headliner. Rear glass, the silver frame, plastic frame that goes around these lights, this whole bezel, they're raised really nice, so that'll be really easy to paint and accent. Got a few pieces loose here. This is transmission linkage, and that is the coil. So we'll jump right into the black parts here. You can see got the door cards. Those are those have texturing on them as well, as you can see. Same as the seats. The interior is textured. I don't think these are the type of seats that were in his car, so I don't know if I'm just gonna cut the headrest off of these, or if I'm gonna print up some different ones. And I'm not gonna name every part that's in here. Y'all have been doing this. I mean, I don't need to tell you that's a control arm. I do like this radiator brace, and it's got the horns connected to it. Top of the manifold. Yeah, see, in the drag car, I'm almost positive it doesn't run a console. So that'll come out. But nice, clean, crisp casting on these. There's no huge mold on them or flash. They're molded really nice. See the dash, seat backs. That's very interesting. You can see how the grill is see-through. That's a very nice grill. I actually downloaded some grills for this car. I didn't think this one would be so nice, but this is exactly what I need without the SS or RS logo on it. Nice looking headers. I don't know if they'll adapt. We'll see. And this is the other half to the exhaust that I showed on the last sprue. Really nice bumper or mufflers. See, it's got the grooved really nice steering wheel. Then these are kind of the weird brake backs. I'll have to check and see what Grumpy's car ran on his, whether they were disc or drum. Then there's the other half of the manifold, and then you can see the distributor. And that does it for the black parts. Oh, before I get up too far, this is the back window, which covers that side quarter window as well. And let's just, here's more suspension parts. And I'll most likely cut and drill these and put some 3D printed bolts in those. To set that over there so I don't lose it. All right. We have here is some Firestones. Surprisingly, they did a name brand. Firestone's obviously a little more liberal with allowing their name to be used or licensed. And these are for the stock. And then these are for the street and strip. You can see they're much wider and more aggressive tread. These would be more like a BF Goodrich or Goodyear. There is no name on this, so you will either need stencil or decal. I have access to some 3D printed templates that I'll size for this car and just paint them myself instead of trying to use decals. And then these are the two rear slicks that come with it. No biggie. I won't be using any of those tires. Show you why here. All right, and then here is the firewall. Really nice looking firewall. And then this side we have starter, pan, and these are motor mounts, manifold base for the tunnel ram, then the cowl induction hood. See how nice that is. And then the engine, and then leaf spring shackles. And then on this one, we have the front rad support, some hood hinges, rear diff, the 2, 4, 6, that's a GM 12 bolt. Front cover, you see it's got the fuel pump on it and the water pump there. Rear spoiler, rear valance, leaf springs and shackles. I'm going to be running some ladder bars on mine. I don't know if it Grumpy ran the slapper type bars, but we'll see. And then this, I was hoping this cover would be separate, and I'll show you why here in a minute, but I'm gonna have to cut that out. So, moving right along to chrome. Not gonna be a whole lot that I use here as well. Well, maybe I will. Headlight tubs, alternator. You got the manifold, tunnel ram. You can see they did these carbs in 2 pieces. I don't know if you can really see because of the chrome, but they have really great detail on the carb linkage on the side. For kind of a weird 2-piece, it does look nice. Then you got side molding. Then you got the front and rear bumpers. Really cool. Windshield wipers. The old antenna. And that's the fan clutch. It goes on the fan. I don't know that they use those on drag racing. Then you can see here's the top of the carbs. Some velocity stacks. Those are very nice velocity stacks. Separate door handles. This is the top of the tunnel ram. Rear taillight bezels. I see this is in chrome. That's cool. I thought you just have to paint the red inserts, but that's very nice. I think maybe paint the rim of the red insert that goes in these like a flat aluminum. But then you got some custom wheels, and then you have the GM Rally wheels, which these are nice looking wheels. Since I will not be using those, I am probably going to use my Goodyear stencils, size it up, paint them, and I'll most likely sell the stock ones and then sell the set of those because I'm not ever going to use them for this car. And again, I'll show you why in just a second. So, all right. Now the coup de grace, the body. As you can see, that's 12 inches. Talking 15 inches long for this car. Thing is a monster. You look at that chassis. The chassis, I mean, it fits tight. It looks fairly accurate. I'm not like this deep dive car guy, so I couldn't tell you, if that's 100% accurate. But you can see you got brake lines, you got fuel lines, really nice. I don't know. I don't want to tear this up by trying to grind those off and then putting my own on there. I may just try to detail those first and see how it goes. Let's go ahead and pull this out. But yeah, this is super nice body. Love it. They did an absolutely fantastic job. Interior tub. I I'm not sure if they were required to run back seats in super stock, so I'll find that out as well. Or if this was just used with the stock sheet metal that's back there with the holes punched at cross bracing. If that's the case, I'm going to have to cut this seat out, extend the sheet metal back, and make my own stamped sheet metal rear seat brace. And this is the somewhat funky frame topper. You can see how it covers up these frame gaps here. But it's got the washer bottle on it and the battery, which I thought was kind of weird. And it just clips down in and covers that up nicely. So, all right, that is that. Let's take a look at the decals real quick. These are in the same style of the original Z28 Camaro that came out back in the 70s from Monogram. That's why I love this one. Nice white stripes. If you can, I don't, it doesn't really show up on here, but as I'm looking at these, I'm getting kind of a blue hint behind these. So I'm expecting these are not going to be very opaque. Say if you put these on a red car, these are going to kind of turn pink. But like I say, I'm not sure, so we shall see about that. All your dashboard trim, radio, pretty much everything you need. GM, Camaro. It's so small I can't even read it. Delco for the battery, AC Delco for the oil filter. And then these are, if you want to put these on your seats. Of course, license plates. But what I'm going to be using this car for is for Grumpy Jenkins 69 super stock. What I really liked and what's cool is these were really just stock cars that got to make a few changes, and you know, they got out there and who's got the best motor, who can hook up, and let's go see who can win. It just reminds me of the days of racing on our old airport road in Walla Walla. So, yeah. So next what I have is all of my 3D parts that I've printed out for this car. And I'm going to go through this stuff real quick. Obviously, first and foremost, if you're, you got to have a roll cage. And this is designed for this car. I don't know. I really haven't fit this too much. So it looks like it might be a little small. I don't know. If that's the case, I'll increase the size a little bit and get it to where it's just right. And then, of course, you know, Grumpy, he always ran Kragers on most of his cars. I wanted these kind of flat spot, so I moved them over to the edge of the print bed. So just do a simple little flat spot on them. These things will sit nicely. Just sit there just like that. And then of course you got your little pie crust ones up front. These are Mickey Thompson ETs. I don't know if I might want to be able to, what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to put an acrylic silver base down, or actually I'm going to prime these with Stynylrez silver, and then I'm going to paint them Mr. Hobby black over the top of that, and then I will just use my knife to scrape off over the top of the ET on those. So that's the 3D printed tires that I'm going to be using. And I'll show you the size-wise. Size-wise, they fit in there perfectly. So those would be good to go. And then I printed a 3D hood. This is also from Ron Olson at 3D Model Specialties. You know, I guess I should have pre-did this ahead of time. That thing's got a hole in it. I don't know if this is even going to fit. It's really close. It needs some work on the corners, as you can see. But this will be a pretty simple build out. What I'm going to do is I'm going to get some 10,000th sheet of styrene, and since you can see how there's that gap right here, because the printed 3D part is nowhere near as thick as the styrene. So what I will do is I will just use styrene sheet, build this up here, put a piece here, and then put a piece here, and just build it up that way so it sits right. Most likely this is going to be, well, not most likely, it's going to be displayed hood off. I may do it Mopar style, where I have the engine on aluminum or stainless steel rods above the motor, or sitting up there anyway. When I do my motors, I like to be able to see my motors. What's the point of spending 40 hours on high detailed motor and then just sitting it on display with the hood on it. And here we have all kinds of just little goodies. Valve cover breathers. See, we got some ladder bars for the frame. You can see. Let's see. Those will go back there. Something along that line. And that one will go there. And those aren't definitive that those are the ones I'm using. Two-speed power glide style, or the full-on race transmission, which this is a Muncie 4-speed. Then we got some, actually, let me zoom that back out. There we go. Now I can see a little better. Drive shaft yokes. Of course, we got some shocks. Tachometer. Then we got another air cleaner breather. Another air cleaner breather. Then we've got the shifter boot. This is for a pistol grip, Mopar pistol grip shifter. I have gotten the B&M or Hurst Z-Gate type shifter. I just haven't printed it out yet. Then I got some stock springs for the suspension that I printed. This is the yoke for the transmission. Of course, got to have a fire bottle. And then a trans cooler. This will go in front of the radiator. And then we got the old Lakewood traction bars. Those go right on top of the spring shackles. Got here, we got another tachometer. Oh, this is what I wanted to show you. This is the Moss rear end cover that I'll be using on the rear, the 12 bolt. I'll just use a razor saw. It'll take me a few minutes and clean that off for that. A couple more sets of springs. And that's a different style of tack. Shocks, another tack. And then I got all these bolts that are broken off of here. The nut and bolt set. You can see that these things are highly detailed. You can easily count or cut and mount any bolt on the car and replace it with a 3D version. And basically what I like replacing is like on the rear spring shackles, stuff like this, where you always get some cross bleeding. This, I will just sand those off, drill a hole through, and then I can use one of these bolts, which I'll actually make. See, these ones are a little small, but I'll print these at a larger scale. Then it comes with washers. These are just bolt heads, and then these are the nuts that go on the bolt heads. And let me see if I can take one off. And I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this without my high visibility glasses or extra light in hands. Yeah, I don't think I can't hardly see it. I definitely need new glasses. Then these are lug nuts. Those are nice. And then these are your line tie downs, like on your brake lines on your bottoms, like right there. That's what those are. All right, so that is all the kind of miscellaneous stuff there. Now to the motor. I can't even remember where I got this motor. Big block Chevy. You're running the tunnel ram. You're running the Moroso valve covers. You can see they got holes in there for the wing nuts. A few of them are missing there. Then I got the battery. Got some decals I'll put on that. They're 1/16 decals, but they'll be fine. Then I got the Milodon oil pan. And I'm not even sure how well this is even going to fit yet. I may have to, I'm sure there will be some fitment issues. It looks okay for right now, but we'll see once I get ready to mock everything up. Water pump. Then we've got the cell supercoil. See this port cleanup there, just a little bit of sanding. And then the top. And that's, you get these couple little pins right here. Those are for wires that run one to your distributor and one to your coil. And then of course your hole that goes straight to your distributor. Got some headers. I don't know if those are going to fit or not. Again, as with all this stuff, the 3D design parts aren't made to fit just plug and play on these cars. So let's see, alternator. The distributor, which I'll cut the distributor off of the manifold that's on it. I like these style. Holley ignition module. I will most likely use this, even though Grumpy, I'm not trying to make 100% accurate model. I want it to look correct, but simple things for details like the Holley Extreme ignition I'm going to use. Then we got the front plate, harmonic balancer, remote oil pump, and then we got the carburetors. Those things are awesome. And that's it. So, but the really nice thing about 3D printing is, you might think, well, it's really expensive to get into. It's not cheap by any stretch of the imagination. But if you're say I wanted to go online and buy a set of these tires. Are you 100% confident that the guy that's printing these is printing exactly what you want? And only you know what you really want. So that's really why I got into 3D printing, is so I could control what I put on my models. Pretty simple. I just really didn't want to buy a bunch of stuff and not be happy with it. And let me tell you what, people are charging 40, 50 bucks for a set of racing slicks on eBay. It's just absolutely absurd. If I printed, if I had the licensing to print and sell those, I wouldn't sell them for more than 20, 25 bucks. This whole point of me selling, because I do sell motors and car bodies and stuff like that, mostly on eBay. But I don't do it to just make a bunch of money. I don't want to get to the point to where I never have time to build a model, and from sun up to sundown, all I'm doing is post-processing 3D parts. That's just a really, I don't know, just seems like a pretty sad life if that's all you want to do is just post-process resin parts. You never want to build. I just, like I said, I've never thought of this as a business. I'm not going to. Having said that, I am sick and tired of the eBay fees. I am going to keep a little out there just to kind of direct people traffic-wise to my new store that I have opening up. I have started populating the inventory very slowly. I will, and not only do I sell the 3D printed motors, and I sell car bodies to the NASCAR guys. I also sell the full cars, like the 73 Pontiac Grand Am, 73 Olds, 77 Thunderbird. I've got dozens and dozens of cars, so those will be, I do have the 73 Grand Am listed right now. But what I was talking about, detailing, this is a product I am offering on my website as well. I found a source for 38 gauge wiring. I know it might be hard to tell here, but this I like using on all of my ignition stuff. When you do ignition lines in a 125th, 124th model, 30 gauge is just way too large. And it shows in models. A lot of people might use soldering, solder, and then just paint it, or some smaller wire. But this is true 38 gauge. I'm selling these. There's 1 foot of each color, all 5 colors, for your fine stuff. And then also I do distributors, pre-wired distributors. This is a blue, more for the Ford fans. I do have 4 different colors that I'll be doing and listing. I've got to get some more done. And that's another thing that brings you to my last thing is my website. It is rbmodelwork.com. Let me change that back. There we go. It's rbmodelwork.com. And like I say, right now I've just got a few things listed out there. Kind of funny. My printer just went down yesterday. Somehow I got a hole in the ACF film in the vat. So I had to change the ACF film, and I went to pull out the packet with the film. And apparently I used the last one already and put the packet back on the shelf, signifying I had at least one left. So the printer's not running for another week. I'm waiting on Amazon to deliver another 5-pack of those. Get her up and cranking. My Anycubic M5, it is just so hit and miss with that. The LCD is about to go out, and it just, every print's an issue with that thing. When it prints great. Excellent definition. It's slow as you know what, but it eventually does a job. So I'm gonna change the FEP in that today. See if I can get it cranked back up, and even though the prints take twice as long, at least I can start getting some bodies printed up. Most of the bodies and cars I am going to list on my website will be print on demand. It does take quite a while. It takes a couple days. If you're going to request a whole car, typically those are three to 4 build plates. If it's one of the trucks, it's more like 4 to 5 build plates, which takes minimum 3 days for me to print the whole thing. And typically I have to do a final print and put on things that just didn't work out on the first few. But I've worked out most of the bugs on my setup and my supports, so hopefully that won't be an issue. But yeah, like my distributors, my wire packs. I'm going to be doing roll bar padding, hauler beds here in the near future. I've got a bunch of models I'm going to get rid of. I've got some rare ones, hard to find, that aren't going to be cheap, but it's going to be fair market value. Then I have some parts kits that are going to go out for cheap, like $10, that I just have no need for. Quite honestly, it's just clogging up the hobby room. So, but anyway, that's it. We're hitting to the 50-minute mark, which is way too long for people. I'm sorry, I do this all the time. I just ramble. So I'm going to let you go, get off of here. I will list everything in the description of where to get the files from 3D Model Specialties for the Grumpy Jenkins parts. And that's it. Thank you guys for tuning back in. I look forward to doing this full video build for my channel this spring. It's gonna be probably a 3 to 6 month build. We'll see how it goes. But I will keep my videos under 30 minutes for all of these. I don't like running them real long. Anyway, I'm babbling again. Thank you guys. Appreciate it. God bless. We'll see you the next time.